Hello, everyone. This is Bethel Today, and I'm your host, Matt Knickerbocker. We are only a couple days away from the next election, so this is our last chance to get some information about the Democratic candidates that you'll be voting on November 3rd. So joining me tonight in the studio is Rich Straighten, who is, of course, running for selectman in the town of Bethel, and I am running for first selectman. So I thought what we would do tonight is Richie and I are going to just talk a little bit about what we've learned in the past 3 months, almost 4 months, campaigning door to door, and some of the stories we've heard, some of the things that the residents of Bethel have shared with us that might give you a little bit more information as you make your choice as you head to the polls. So Rich, once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt, and it's a pleasure running on the ticket with you, and it's been very interesting, and hopefully we're going to go forward and be selectmen together.
I certainly hope so, and it's been a pleasure campaigning with you. I got to say, you're a gentleman, and I think you know every single person in town. And whenever I campaign with Rich, they open the door and say, "Rich, it's Rich. Rich is here, and who's that guy with him? Oh, it's Matt."
Well, being a lifelong resident of the town, so I do know a few people throughout the town.
Right.
But there are also, you know, I was knocking on doors and people know you too, and right, not me. Yeah. So it works both ways, and that's why we're going to make a good team as selectmen.
Exactly, and we both met several hundred brand new friends in the course of this.
Yes, we have.
Well, what's your perspective? What have you heard out there? It kind of varies by district.
Well, yeah, it varies by district. Definitely up in Stony Hill, people are concerned about the roads up in the Stony Hill area due to the sewer project, and the other is the rezoning of Route 6. They're very concerned about that. They don't want to see any large box stores going in. They want to see it developed because it's going to increase our tax base, but they don't want to go to the extreme.
Right.
So that was some of the comments I got.
Right, and I heard very much the same thing, especially the roads. Let's talk a little bit about the road situation, because there is a tremendous amount of discontent in the Stony Hill region about the condition of the roads, a lot of concern about the sewer project. Now, that doesn't involve everybody in District 2, but it certainly involves a lot of households, and it is behind schedule. I think it's approximately 2 years behind schedule at this point.
That's right. They had to get quite a few easements and things then to go through some property, and that held it up a little bit, but also it just doesn't seem like it flowed very well. They waited to get one phase done before they worked on another phase. They didn't work them together, so that's why they're behind on it. And actually being behind on it might be costing us more money. I'm not sure about that, but when any project is delayed, it costs more money in the long run.
Well, it certainly is. Cost more money than was budgeted, because the final paving was not included in all the phases. So that's one thing that the town now has to come back and address. And some of those roads were not in great shape to begin with, and you know, so it's almost like a double whammy. I spoke with one resident in Stony Hill who said, well, I paid for this road when I bought my home 26 years ago, because, you know, it was sort of buried in the cost of the construction of building that entire neighborhood, and nothing was done to it for 26 years, and now they put a sewer in, and now the town is going to try to charge me for fixing the road that should have been maintained better in the first place. Now, it's not really going to work out that way, but I understand the point that he's making.
That he was trying to make, exactly, but you know, when you do a major sewer project, you're digging up the middle of the road and you're putting laterals into the houses. So, you know, I would say 85% of the road is dug up, and
right,
rather than patching it back together, it needs to be totally redone. And when they are redoing them, they you know, are going back and doing them right. They're reclaiming the materials and then rolling it and resurfacing the entire road. And they all should be done that way. It's just unfortunate that there wasn't more money in the original bond package to do that. And most of the projects should be included in that. When they're going to put a sewer or water lines down the road, all that money should be included in the original costs because now we're delaying other roads being repaired to mainly fix the ones up in Stony Hill now. So.
Now here's something, one of the benefits of going door to door in campaigning like this is that you not only get to hear what's on people's mind, but you get a lot of good ideas. And there's one I wanted to talk about, and I think that we should explore after the election. And if the voters are kind enough to install us in those positions. But a gentleman that I spoke with in Stony Hill, who had grown up in a Midwestern city, said, "Why don't you also, while you have the road dug up in the first place, so you have to put in the sewer, so on and so forth, why don't you lay conduit as well?" And what he was saying was, in the city where he grew up, when they replace sewers or replace water lines, they also put in large conduit for electrical and optical cabling. And then the city would lease that to the cable companies and the phone companies, and it actually became a source of revenue. So, and it defrayed a lot of the cost of construction and rebuilding roads because they could lease that to the phone companies. Now, the companies that use the conduit are then, it's up to them to provide the labor and the cost to put whatever goes in there. But even if there's nothing on the docket right away, to have the conduit in place gives you a source of revenue in the future. So it's not something that's top of mind right now, but it's something to write down and consider as a potential source of revenue for the town, which would help keep our taxes down.
That's a good thought.
So let's talk a little bit about the plans that we have to address the roads. And of course, one of them is that we need to establish a 5-year and perhaps even a 10-year regular maintenance plan that keeps the roads in better shape, so that we don't have somebody who looks at his road and says, geez, nothing's been done with this for 26 years.
Well, that's good. We can make that schedule, but sometimes with a harsh winter that comes here in New England, sometimes those roads get swapped around a little bit. But at least to have a plan. And a resident, I'm just going to throw Hollyberry Road out there,
right,
would know in 2010 their road is going to be done. And another road is going to be in 2011 or whatever it might be. At least they know when it's going to be done. And the worst case scenario, there might be something that comes up that might have to delay it, but at least there's a plan, and we're going to try to work that plan to the best of our ability, if monies are available. That's what we really need to look at. Are there other monies available, either the state or federal government, to help with this repaving project in the Stony Hill district?
Right.
I would like to see more roads done at one time, not 2 or 3 roads a year. 2 or 3 roads a year is going to take a long time to complete all those. And in the meantime, then you're letting the rest of the roads in town fall apart. Right.
Yes, that's a very important point. To constantly, every year, even when it doesn't seem like we need to, but every year follow the plan and apply for all the federal and state funds that are available that the town is eligible for. I know that the town is trying to play catch-up right now, but frankly that hasn't been done consistently, and we need to establish a regular plan. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do is make sure that plan is posted on the website so that everybody can, and you alluded to that as well.
Well, you mentioned about also putting town meetings and other functions going on in town right on the website, so the people have it readily available at their fingertips. But just getting back to the roads for a second, my road was rebuilt about 10 years ago, and unfortunately it's starting to crack up already. Now, if we don't maintain those roads, they're going to cost a lot more to redo in the future. So if we have a maintenance program to take care of roads that might need a little tender loving care in between, and it's the same thing with our buildings. We need to do that with the buildings too. You can't let them go to pot 100% and then expect to fix them, because then it costs a lot more to fix them at that point.
Now that's a good point. You did bring up the buildings, and there was one neighborhood that I was campaigning in, and the gentleman who answered the door said, And this kind of surprised me, because this gentleman did not have young children in school, but had must maybe with grandkids, might have been in one of the schools. And he said, now why isn't the ceiling done at the middle school? And what he was referring to is those big, I think they call it tectum tiles, you know, the white stuff that's up above. There had been leaks years ago, and some of those tiles were damaged. They had become waterlogged, so they're stained and they sag. Now, we have had a plan over the past 5 years to replace those little bit at a time, which is the right way to do it, so it's not a big expense. But frankly, in the last couple of years, it has slowed down. The budget hasn't been there to replace those. And he wants to, and this gentleman's point was that he wants to make sure that now that we've invested in our schools, they are in good shape, the academics are excellent, let's keep them that way, and let's not get behind the way we did about a decade ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Very important.
Well, it was the same thing with the roof program. You know, although all of a sudden there was like 5 school roofs that we needed to replace in one time. So we need to, you know, have a good maintenance program. I'd like to see, I was on the original permanent building committee. I'm currently on the public site and building committee, and I'd like to see that commission looking into all the buildings and do an annual report to the selectmen on the condition of the existing buildings.
Now, since you were appointed to the site committee, have you met?
Well, in the past 10 months, we've only met, I think, twice, and we're supposed to be overseeing the renovation of the South Street Firehouse. The engineering department is really running that project, and the site and building committee is just a site overseer of it, and we haven't really been to it or really discussed it in any detail. So I want to see this commission be much more active in the town buildings.
So right now the commission isn't even empowered to do what on paper it's supposed to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So you see an opportunity then to empower that commission to be the proactive agency that looks at the buildings and develops the regular plans and works with the Board of Ed on their plan for maintenance,
right,
and coordinate that and make sure that on an ongoing basis that those buildings are maintained.
Right. And inspected. You know, to do years ago on the commission, we would inspect every building in town and make an annual report that was submitted to the selectmen, and I don't think that is currently being done.
That is an excellent idea. Let's go on to some of the other issues that we've heard about as we've knocked on doors. And I have to tell you, one of the most fun places that I had, one of the most enjoyable days was knocking on doors in Reynolds Ridge. The residents there were happy to see us, happy to talk to us, and really gave us a lot of great feedback.
Well, they love that community. Again, that was a Democrat initiative that got Reynolds Ridge built there. Those residents up there just love that area. It was expanded once, and we're going to be looking into possibly expanding it again if possible,
right,
through the Housing Authority if there's money available for that. And I don't know if there's currently any other property available. I know there is an access road that goes down to Judd, but I don't know if there's any building lots available along that. But you know, if not there, somewhere else in town.
Somewhere else, right. Right, yeah. The Bethel Democrats, Democratic administrations over the decades have taken a very strong leadership role in programs like senior housing and developing the senior center itself, and even introducing the first senior tax relief program. Mm-hmm. And we do plan to continue that strong tradition as well.
Right.
I think right now the limit, our senior citizens in town can still make up to $44,000 a year, unless if they make less than $44,000, they are eligible for very substantial discounts from their property taxes, and we have pledged to continually look at that to see if we can raise that limit to allow more of our seniors to participate in the tax abatement and lower their tax burden.
Right. That's a common question we get get with the older people when we were knocking on doors. I know you've had them, and I had them, and I've mentioned too that we're going to keep the program up, embellish it if we can. Some of the people were saying, I don't have any kids in the school system anymore. Why should I have high taxes? I supported when my kids were there, and now the other people need to support that. But it's always been that way, and it will continue to support. We have grandkids, so we're supporting our grandkids in the school system today. But we're going to look to see if we can expand that, raise the limit possibly, and help all our seniors.
Now, one other thing that we've spoken about, and I did hear a lot of comments about this, as budget will allow over the next couple of years, sometime, as soon as we can squeeze it in, our senior citizens need to have a separate parking lot along the side of the building of the municipal center that faces the post office, because they very frequently will visit to go to the town clerk's office or go to the tax assessor's office or to pay their taxes or to pick things up, or just to visit the senior center itself, because the entrance is over on that side of the building. And there's almost no parking there, and the back lot behind the annex where the Board of Ed is fills up with employee parking, and sometimes you can't park back there at all. So it's really kind of a problem. So one of the goals we have is to put a dedicated seniors and handicap parking lot right on the side of the building, so it's very easy to get into Lisa's office and the town clerk's.
Well, not only Lisa's office, the tax assessor, the registrar voter, and the tax collector. The seniors use those offices quite a bit, and as you mentioned, the senior center is just around the corner, so I mean it's just a short walk to there. Originally, that was planned in the renovation of the municipal center when it was first done, but
I recall that
there was money was short at that time, and that was eliminated from it. That was something I would like to see completed.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about Terre Haute. Now, some folks have been spreading some rumors about that, and I think it's important that we get the truth out about that. So one of the things I wanted to point out, just to make sure that we're all dealing with the truth, or we're all dealing with facts here on who said what, I have said publicly, and I'm going to say it again, I am in favor of investigating the sale of the portion of Terre Haute that exists in the city of Danbury. Now, that would still leave a very large piece of Terre Haute within the city limits of Bethel, and that would remain Bethel, and it would remain, as an open space area. Now, I am in favor of potentially selling that piece back to Danbury on certain condition that the appraisal of the property comes up with the right number. And I think this is where some of the whisper campaign has been tried to mislead people a little bit. And as long as that property is deeded to remain as open space, and undeveloped in any other way. The city of Danbury did want to put the Ives Trail through there, and there's really no reason not to do that. And I think that is a wonderful idea. And Bethel residents would have access to that trail too. But here's why it's important to investigate selling that property. Again, if the numbers are right, that money could be used to help in our economic development of our town. And we're going to talk a little bit about economic development in a minute. But one of the problems that we have at the Francis Clark Park in terms of trying to attract new businesses is that there's not enough water there right now. And our residents may remember that just a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, there was an article in the newspaper about how the city of Danbury had turned down a request for Bethel to locate a water tank over the town line up in that neck of the woods to serve that part of Bethel in the Francis Clark area, because they need more water pressure, and if that's going to expand and bring new businesses and bring new jobs to Bethel, it's got to be addressed. So selling the property would give us the ability to put a water tank on the Bethel side, then there's no problems with Danbury, everybody's going to be happy. And the other thing it would do is it would give us money to buy more open space that would then help protect our property values and keep our taxes low.
This property over at the Terre Haute is a very rugged piece of property. It really wouldn't be buildable for homes or anything like that. So the main use, most likely, and the appraisers would come up with this, most likely would be for the recreational use only.
Right. I think in one of the original appraisals, they did say if you really had to, you could put not a commercial, but a public building up there, like a garage, you know, for town vehicles, or potentially even a school, as long as it wasn't too big. But it would be enormously expensive to do that because of the rugged, rocky terrain. The construction costs would be astronomical, so there's really no reason to do anything with that property except protect it as open space and use it for the trail, and that's it.
Where this water tank was proposed, it was currently on the land that Bethel owns in Danbury, and we were denied that.
Right.
So, you know, if we had maybe a better working relationship with Danbury, maybe that would go away.
The last I heard is I don't think we have a working relationship with Danbury, better or otherwise. So you're right. One of the things we need to do is to open a dialogue with our sister towns in the area, not only on that issue, but also to explore regionalizing some purchases of town materials, maybe school materials, as a way where we can pool our negotiating clout and get our costs down. And that's something that there's an opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Another issue which really didn't ignite the public consciousness too much, it's something that's just kind of sneaking up on us, is that issue of the transfer station. So I think we should, but a few people down in the District 4 area around near Reservoir Street had heard about that and were quite concerned about that plan with the transfer station.
Well, also the people who use the transfer station too are concerned about it. They like that little transfer station that they currently have there. The town runs it right now. If we were to sell it, it would become privately owned. We would not have the control over it that we currently have. They're talking, currently we have a 50-ton a day limit on it, and they want to raise it to 450 tons. And that's a lot of material to be brought in. So there'd be a lot of truck traffic coming down Grassy Plain Street and all the other streets in town. We don't know what's in those trucks. There could be hazardous materials, even though they're not supposed to be bringing hazardous materials to the transfer stations. Sometimes stuff gets stuck in trucks and to get rid of it, and we just don't want that going across the streets.
Right. Well, I think it's important that people really get a handle on what you just said. An increase from 50 tons a day to 450 is 9 times more material coming through Bethel on heavy trucks, on our roads, and then as you said, if the transfer station is sold to a private company, the town of Bethel no longer has the ability to say, no, this is stuff you can't bring in here. And the transfer station sits on a protected wetland and near an aquifer. And it is true that the transfer station, it does not run yet at a break-even point. It does lose a little bit of money every year, nowhere near the number that has been bandied about, which was like a 6-figure number. It's not that bad. We are going to look at ways to close that gap so that it at least breaks even, but the last thing we can do is to sell that off to a private company and become the garbage capital of Western Connecticut. This is especially troubling when Bethel had been working with the local agencies like HRRA, the regional authorities, to get costs down, and all of a sudden our administration gets a proposal to sell it and seems to go in a completely different direction.
Yeah, that's not the idea that they want. They want a regional facility so all the towns can bring it to it. You know, if we spin off and the other towns spin off, then the regional program would not work. So
right.
I think we need to stay with the regional and not allow that to happen to the transfer station at all.
that's a good thought, and that's going to be high on our list. Let's go back to that issue of economic development, because we hear two contradictory things, and I guess this is just part of politics. But people say, keep my taxes low, but fix the roads and make sure we have good schools. So the way to bridge that gap, and it's not a short-term solution, but a long-term solution, is to work hard to bring new businesses to our town and develop those areas that are currently not being utilized, and that gives you a tax base on the commercial side that then pays for those services, and it keeps your home property taxes low.
Well, there's currently some property left down in Terre Haute. That can be expanded. There's
near the Francis Clark Park, right?
Right. Well, Francis Clark. That was the Terre Haute property originally, and Route 6. So if we can get some development, sensible development, to bring up our tax base, that would help on the budget and put people to work. That's also a good thing for the town. If we have industry in town, we can employ the local people in town, so they're not traveling and using gas and all that. So it would be beneficial. People would shop in town also, the grocery stores or the hardware stores or any of the stores that in town. It would help them out, the gas stations. So it would, helps out the whole field.
Well, I've probably said it before on the air. I know I've said it 100 times, if not more, going door to door. But we have an opportunity to market the town of Bethel, to reach out to the business community and say, this is a great place for you to run your business. We have a great workforce. We have great schools. Your employees can live where they work. So let's not wait for them to find us. We can reach out and find them.
Yes.
So. Anything else? We got about 30 seconds left. That was a fast half hour, wasn't it?
I'd just like to thank everybody. The people invited us to their homes to talk to us, the walking, and it's been a very good experience. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to serving the people of town of Bethel.
I couldn't agree more. The people have been so generous with us, with their time, with their comments. And of course, a lot of people have donated to our campaign, and I want to thank them as well. We've gotten a lot of support from the town of Bethel, so whatever happens in the next week and a half, we thank you for all your support. And now we're out of time, so don't forget to vote November 3rd. And we ask you to consider row B, the Democratic ticket, Rich Straighten and I on behalf of our colleagues. And thank you very much for watching. This is Bethel Today. I'm Matt Knickerbocker, and we are sponsored by the Bethel Democratic Town Committee. Thanks, and have a great night.
Thank you.